Hello! I can't believe it. So many of you will know that I've done live makes and live cruises on Facebook before. And I've wanted for so long to do something on YouTube, but I've never been able to pull my finger out and make it happen. And I really wanted to test this evening the laptop working, because I usually, when I do the live makes, I usually do it on my phone, and I'm used to that setup. So it's nice to see it being done on the laptop. I know that the camera on the laptop's not as great as it is on the phone, but also just so that I can get used to the setup as well, so that when I usually stream on Facebook, it's in portrait mode rather than landscape mode like it is now. And I usually get a list of questions over myself, so I see the questions appear over the video, so I can actually see myself now. And I've got a section on the right hand side where I can see your questions. So it'll be really great just to test a few things before we start. First of all, just to test to see whether the microphone's working. That would be fantastic. So if the microphone's working, please let me know. And the second thing would be to test the chat. Now I can see that Stephanie has already said that she commented earlier to say that she was setting a reminder to know when we were going live. And I can see there is Caleb. Hey Caleb, nice to see you. And there's Jane Barrera as well. And Jane said that she can hear me fine, and Steph said that she can hear me fine as well, so that's great. And so is Caleb. So this is it, guys. This is your opportunity to ask us any questions you fancy, whether it be about boat life, whether it be about home ed, whether it be about the jewelry that I make, anything at all, what brought us to this place. And hey Dot, there's Dot. Hey, so many. I'm seeing you from Facebook. Seeing you over on YouTube is lovely. And some of you have got slightly different names over here as well. Jane saying, love this, can have you on full screen on the TV, much better. What, so I'm on the big telly, Jane? That's brilliant. So for those of you who don't know, we are on the Llangollen Canal, and we are currently moored in a place called Whitchurch. So we're actually on the Whitchurch arm. If you look just up there, that was where we live here, there's a bridge, a canal bridge, and just beyond that there's another canal bridge, and in actual fact hidden just beyond that there's a third bridge, and the canal used to go through there to a basin, I so believe, but at the moment, just before the bridge, it's actually blocked off. And the Canal Society here are working really hard to raise funds to dig back through and restore that part of the canal as well. So fingers crossed they do that as well. And so Jane's saying that I'm being broadcast live on a 50-inch TV now, which is great. I haven't got a clue how big that would be. I don't even know how big my laptop is. So yeah, so we're on the arm. So just to set the scene, just in front of me, there's a winding hole. That's where we turn the boat. But we're facing down the arm already facing to get out and to get onto our next port of call. Just at the end of the arm, there's really beautiful lift bridge, and there's these different lift bridges here on the Llangollen Canal, where they have a balance beam above. And so what happens is, as you come, you have to use your windlass, and in some cases they're electric, and you have to lift that beam atop, and it's got a chain that pulls the bridge up like a drawbridge almost. We got all excited because when we got where was it, the Dusty Miller pub, they had one with a key, and Bobby was desperate to do it, but he was on the boat. He was being lazy in actual fact, and so I got off and I did it, and I was able to stop traffic. And I mean, the power of being able to stop a dozen cars is your boat just goes through and gets priority passage is amazing as well. So come on guys, have a think about a question. I don't know how long this video is going to be. We'll try and answer as many questions as possible. Have a think about what you want to ask. Could be a question that's been asked before that you feel others would benefit from knowing. It could be a brand new question. It could be a hard-hitting question, you know. It could be anything that you fancy. But this is your time to be able to, you know, be creative with me and get the answers out of me that you know, the answering to the questions that you've had since watching us over the months and developing as well. There's oh, there's the Brit Kids show. That's great. Did you watch our interview with the Brit Kids show and Ethan earlier today? We did it last Sunday when we was in Market Drayton, and he broadcast that today, which was great. We watched it and loved every minute of it. Caleb saying mum's watching with me, both in the office, which is the spare bedroom. Come on then, guys. I've got no questions. We're gonna have to leave this up to Ethan to ask the questions because he's so great at answering questions. Asking questions. I'll tell you a little bit more about our journey whilst we're waiting for the first one to come in. Basically, our next port of call will be Ellesmere, which is just down the canal and around the corner and a bit further. We're going to be heading there on Wednesday, so we'll spend most of the day traveling to Ellesmere on Wednesday. And then after Ellesmere, I'm planning on taking a week off, and then we'll be heading into Llangollen, and we'll do that relatively slowly. So we'll be traveling most days and just taking in the surrounding areas, and especially going over that ruddy great big aqueduct that Jack is terrified of going over, and that I'm not too terrified of going over, but I think I probably will when we get on there as well. So Steph's asking the first question. So we've got our first question. Steph's asking, how do you go about assessing Bobby and Fleur in regards to their home ed? So first of all, if for those who don't know, we home educate both of our children. And for us, the important thing is that we teach how to learn. So we don't teach what to learn, but we teach how to learn. And the assessment, in a sense, comes every day, because you see your child developing and growing every day. And so unlike, you know, when you're in a classroom setting where you've got 30 or so kids, 25, 30 kids, you'll have a teacher, maybe a TA, a teaching assistant. And that teacher needs to keep track of 30 kids, whereas there's two of us and we need to keep track of 2 kids. So what we do is we teach personal responsibility, and that is that you've got a certain amount of things to achieve. So that might be an amount of stuff to achieve, or it may be a level in something which they're doing. So for instance, Bobby this week has been really chucking himself into his ukulele playing, and his goal this week was to add a minute each day to his practice. And if he found himself, you know, lost in a song and added 5 minutes, and the next day he'd have to add the 5 plus 1 minute. So it got longer and longer and longer. And by the end of the week, he did fantastically well. He did get a financial reward for that. But his biggest reward came as a result that he's gone from level 2. Now, bearing in mind, he's only started in the last 6 weeks or so playing the ukulele. He's gone from level 2 to level 3. There's 8 levels in total. That's 5, but there's 8 levels in total. So he's only got 4 more to do. And so he's progressing beautifully on that. And the way that we did it was not necessarily teaching him how to play the ukulele, because neither of us do. But it was about the approach to learning and how you learn. So where do you find the information on how to play the ukulele? How do you evaluate that information? Do you use a book? Do you use an online resource? Do you go to a teacher? And all of those different things. So where do you get that information from? And then how do you apply that into your own life and into your day-to-day education, so that you can progress and that you can continue going forwards and forwards and forwards? And he's done that, and he's done absolutely fantastically. And that applies the same to his English, into his history. You know, the first thing that Bob did when he got off the boat yesterday was run over to the information board and read through it and come and tell me loads of things about the history of Whitchurch, the town that we're now in. And so it's more, Steph, rather than seeing like a paper-based test, it's about seeing that daily growth every day and that aspiration to build those resources that he's going to need and that Fleur's going to need, because we do the same with her as well for life, you know. But it's also about allowing them to be little and allowing them to really experience with full richness their childhood, and have a solid foundation that's emotionally stable going forward as well. When we get to secondary age, so obviously Bob's 10 at the moment, so we've got a couple of years. He would be going up to secondary school this year, but when we get to secondary age, then we'll think about GCSEs, and we'll, you know, he'll go through his GCSEs as well, and then potentially after that, if he fancies A levels, then A levels. If he fancies apprenticeship, then it'll be apprenticeship. It will be whatever it will be, but it will be led by him, you know. And as long as he's being responsible, as long as he's taking that personal responsibility, then we allow that to happen, because what we're doing is he's an adult in training, and yeah, so it's about that personal responsibility. So Caleb's saying Mum's question. So Karen's question is, where did you find Whisper? So the big thing that happened with Whisper yesterday, and this hasn't happened before, is we were cruising. We cruised miles yesterday, but we came up to a set of locks called Grinley Brook locks, and they're all going up. So we were down the bottom. We had our lunch after our morning cruise, and we were getting on for the day. We made sure that Whisper is inside, which is what we normally do when we go off cruising. And then we set off first through the first 3 locks. Now, the whole thing only took us around about an hour. We went through the first 3 locks, which were normal, but very, very close together. Then we went through the staircase lock, and Jackie told me that I'm not allowed to share this. However, I think, you know, for the benefit of the video, I should. Jackie almost sunk the boat in the staircase lock by leaving one of the bottom paddles open as I was going into the next level, which could have caused the boat to, go down and go down fast. But anyway, that's by the by. We went through the lock, and then we carried on, and we actually came only within maybe 500 yards of this turn. And what happened is Fleur came out and said, "Oh, where's Whisper?" And I said, "Oh, she's on the boat. I need to just concentrate on doing the turn. So just go back in, darling." And what Fleur hadn't said is that she had just seen Whisper come out to the back deck and jump off. And partly because I didn't get that information from her, I just asked her to go back inside because I was concentrating. And what happened is Whisper actually jumped off as we were going through a bridge hole. So when you go through a bridge, the canal gets very narrow, so you've only got inches either side. And what she did is she took that opportunity, I think, just to jump off. However, we then spent the rest of the afternoon walking all the way back to the locks, which is about 2 miles away, searching and searching and searching, and then coming back to the boat, thinking maybe we haven't checked the boat properly. So we came back to the boat. I double checked, and that's when my heart sunk, because I knew that she wasn't where we were and she wasn't on the boat, and I knew then she was truly lost. So I said to Jack, well, I'll walk back to where we were, so the 2 miles to the locks, and check around there again. And I'd only got, a few hundred yards around the corner, and I started calling her, and the next thing, she just stroked the side of my leg. She didn't even meow. She just stroked the side of my leg, as cats do. And that was it. And as soon as I acknowledged her, it was meow, meow, meow to tell me off. And we put her back in her carry box and brought her back to the boat. And everything was sound, which was good. So Steph's saying, "Oh, I love the setup of their home ed. I always been curious as to how home education always goes about. Great insight. Thanks, Rich. I feel like I've learned something." And the other thing as well, Stephanie, is that it's different for every home ed family. So every home ed family does things differently. I mean, we do stick relatively tight to the curriculum, but obviously, like with regards to history, we do it based on the canal. So the Second World War, we look at how the canals were used during the Second World War We look at you know, how the canals were used during all of manner of different events that were going on, most of it in actual fact local, so we find out what happened on the canal locally in history over time. They're over 200 years old, you know, the canals in the UK, so there's a huge amount of history. Bob's taken a specific interest in where this disappears off to, you know, where they've infilled and where the line of that canal goes. So we were going to actually have a look on Google Maps, you know, the satellite view later, to see whether we can see. Maybe you guys want to do the same. If you if you head over to Google Earth or Google Maps, I think it is, and select satellite, and then just select Whitchurch, you'll see the little arm. The canal pretty much comes around like this, but in the middle there's the arm going off. So we're actually in there at the moment, but if you follow the arm out, you should be able to see a little bit of where the canal and possibly the basin used to be. But we're going to be checking that later on as well. There's Busy Griffin. A bit late to the party, but I found you. Fantastic. And Stephanie saying Whisper is such a cheeky mix. Very cheeky, but it's surprising that she's never done anything like that before. But she certainly did do it today. Anyway, have we got any more questions, guys? And it's great. We've got 9 people of you watching so far, which is absolutely fantastic. And what will happen in actual fact is the video will be posted then to our Facebook page, so you'll be able to watch it. So if you're just joining us, you can after we've done the live, you can scroll back and start at the beginning as well. But and also, if you've got any suggestions for future videos, let me know those as well. And the other thing of how YouTube works is that in order to broadcast from my phone, which is what I'm used to, and we'll get much better quality images, I need 1,000 subscribers, and I'm just shy of 500 subscribers. So go out, invite your lover, your brother, your nan, your granddad, everybody to come and subscribe to the page. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing, for boaters, we're going to be doing videos on moorings. And the reason why, you might find that boring, but the reason why is because as we've been going to new areas, it would have really benefited us to know what the moorings were like, you know, whether they've got Armco, which is that sort of stuff, which is quite easy to moor up against, or whether they're pins and you have to whack a pin in, how far away they are from town or the nearest shops, and you know, everything else, like what the restrictions, like for instance here is 48 hours, just around the corner is 2 weeks, some places is 5 days. It would be handy for us to be able to have that information going forwards for ourselves, so that when we come back here again, we've got a record of where we can moor and where's nice to moor, where we've enjoyed and things. But I'm guessing that that would benefit other people as well. So yeah, that's going to be one thing that we're going to be looking at doing. The other thing is cookery. You know, so many of you have asked us, because you've seen the bread, you've seen the cake, you've seen my vegan egg and chips. So we'll be doing videos on food as well. And do you know what? Most of those recipes are going to be super, super easy, because I love nutritious food, but I like it to be simple. I like it to be easy. You know, we've got a lot with having so many things to do during the day with the kids' education, just family life in general, running a business, cruising a boat, narrowboat life, and all of those things. Food needs to be nutritious, filling, but really, really easy to make and prepare. So we're going to have a cookery session on the YouTube channel as well. And the other thing that we'll be doing is the live makes will be here. Not all of them will be here, so we'll still be doing live makes over on Facebook. But I would imagine that all of the live cruises, bar maybe 1 or 2 a month, will also be here as well. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. When you hit the subscribe button, it will have a bell icon next to it. So if you've already subscribed, just look where it says subscribe, and next door to it will be a bell icon. Now, if you click on that bell icon, what that will do is it will just send you a quick message every time we go live, or every time we put out a new video. And you can either take that, you know, or ignore that. whichever way suits you. You can watch it later, you can watch it then, but it will just make sure that you get that notification that you won't miss anything going forward. Let's see. So I was going to do the live makes, the live cruises, the cookery, and the moorings, and anything else that you guys can think of. I'm not going to be one of those super flash people on YouTube because I haven't got the time and I haven't got the equipment to go and do video editing or anything like that. So it will be pretty much put the camera on and away I go. You know, what you see is what you get, and fingers crossed you find it interesting. But like I said, we need to get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can do the first live make. So I will do the first live make here when we get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you could help us with that, then that will be absolutely amazing. So let's have a look. Caleb saying, and this may have been asked before, but what made you work with copper? It's definitely a great thing to work with, and I doubt many people will work with it anymore. So there's a couple of things with copper. The first thing is that it was the first material that I worked with in this way, and so it pretty much stuck. But also, and the reason why I use copper pipe is because I love the fact that the value is in the work that's gone into creating the piece and not in the metal. So I've been asked to work in silver and gold and all these other different mediums, but the thing is, I quite like the fact that you take a normal everyday, I haven't got a piece here, I'll show you, but a normal everyday piece of copper pipe, and you turn it into something which personally I find really beautiful. And, you know, like for instance, you guys know that the other day I was experiencing a really low point with my depression and things, and I was able to make some stuff. And just taking that thing, which is rough and ready, maybe a little bit tarnished, maybe, you know, it's got some cement or some paint on it or something, and turning it into something rather beautiful is really good for the soul, and it just lifts my mood. And I love the fact that it's like, in a sense, the, how can I put, not rags to riches, but you taking something which is nothing and turning into something which is something, and it's got meaning and it's got heart and it's got value. And so that's why I've kept with copper, and I think, to be honest, that's why I always will. I may use a little bit of silver. I've got an interest in making rings from silver cutlery, and I want to have a go with that and a little bit of a play with that. And as you've probably seen as well, I've got my tin can earrings that I make, and I haven't put them up for sale yet because I'm still playing with that concept and still, you know, feeling comfortable with that concept, and in with the tin cans using biscuit tins as well. So yeah, I hope that made sense, but that's pretty much why I focus around copper. And of course, Jackie does her macrame earrings as well, which are all up on the website. Stephanie is saying, just shared this live to my Facebook page. Stephanie, that's fantastic, because that's the sort of action that gets us more followers. That's the sort of action that expands our community. And that's why we're now on YouTube, as well as Facebook, as well as Instagram, as well as Twitter, and the websites, because we want to try and reach as many people as possible. And we really hope that, you know, our life offers some inspiration and a kick up the backside to do the things which you really, really, truly want to do in life, whether it be buy a canal boat, whether it be go and live in a cob house in Pembrokeshire or in Scotland, whatever you fancy. You know, we hope that it serves as a kick up the bum. Basically, they're saying, oh, the vegan egg and chips look beautiful. I definitely have to give that a go, and it's so tasty as well. And what I did was I this time, because the first time my chips look a bit anemic, so my chips are made out of apple. That's the secret. But I sprinkled some cinnamon and tossed them over in a bowl, because they looked more, but they actually looked like spicy chips, you know, where you put a little bit of spice on the chips. They look like that, but they were great. Anyway, so Ethan's saying, what do you use to film? So at the moment I'm doing the laptop. I have a couple of new toys coming tomorrow. I've treated myself, and I've got a new mic which is coming, which is going to go onto my phone. So I use my phone to do all of my filming. And I've also ordered a DJI gimbal. And the reason for that is because I love to do like the live walks with you guys on Facebook, but they're very jittery. You know, this is a bit jittery at the minute, look, because I'm leaning on the hatch and I've got you on the hatch as well. But the gimbal sort of cuts all of that out. But also it just means that, so for instance, if I had the gimbal on now, if I was to go like this, the screen would move and the camera would track me. So yeah, it's going to be a bit more professional. So we're going to be doing that. So I'll be playing, no doubt, with that over the next few days. I did say I don't want to be like a flashy YouTuber, and I really won't. I have got somebody who's going to edit me like a little intro section to each video. So what I'll do is I will practice with a gimbal and create some small shots to send to them to put that together for me. But apart from that, I promise that I won't become a flashy git. Busy Griffin saying, I feel the same about processing wool. It's raw, it's dirty off the animal. Then with a lot of hard work, it turns into something really beautiful. It's a wonderful feeling. And that's it. I think it's taking something which is, you know, have I got a bit here? So I can show you a piece here. Let me just show you, hang on a sec. I'm sure. There we go. So taking a piece of copper like this, can you see it's all gnarly on the end? I've cut it nice and smooth there because I took a piece off to make something. I made some bookmarks out of this week. But this type of pipe, which is 22mm copper pipe, I turn into something like this. And this is a 16cm cuff bracelet. You can't really see because the sun's there, but it's got this is what I would call my signature. So this is the hive. Let me stick it, there we go. That's better in the shade. But it's got this crease down the middle, which I absolutely adore. I just adore making these. I think they look elegant. And I think it really fulfills for me when you turn something like that into something like that. It just makes me feel great. I mean, even now I'm smiling. Because I just love the shape, I love the texture, I love the feel, but more importantly, I love to know where it's come from and that, you know, it's had a previous use and now it's getting another use as something else, which is fab. Anyway, guys, listen, we've nearly been going for 30 minutes. Have we got any more questions before we wrap up, or are we really happy? As I say, guys, you can really help me now. You can go look somewhere here. There's thumbs, one down and one up, guys. If you're watching, if I've deserved it, and only if I've deserved it. Now, look, I know there's 11 likes at the moment, and there's 12 people watching. So I know that's either 11 people that have liked, and there's one person that hasn't. But I reckon that we can get it above 11 likes. So if you haven't already, go ahead down below. And if you think I've earned it, if you found this video interesting, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're watching on replay or you're watching after we've been live and you've enjoyed what you've watched, go ahead and hit that thumbs up as well. Remember to subscribe. Remember to hit that bell notification so that you get further notifications. But anyway, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up because there's no more questions. Thank you so much for watching me. I'm going to spend my evening now taking the recycling down to the recycling bin because that's what being boated is all about. I'm going to go and get some water as well in the plastic bottles. I brought one out with me earlier, but I can't see it. So that we've got drinking water. There's a tap about a mile down the canal, which I'll walk down to with probably the bicycle trailer to bring some stuff back up. And then it's just an evening of relaxation. And tomorrow morning, I will open up the workshop here on the Arm in Whitchurch. And we'll be doing that for the next 2 days here. And then, as I say, on Wednesday, we'll travel down to Ellesmere. And then we'll spend Thursday and Friday in Ellesmere. And then my aim is to try and take a week off. So we'll still be doing stuff on social media, but I won't be actually making next week. So any orders that come in after Friday will be made the following week, but we'll put something up on the website to reflect that, because we're going to be going down and we're going to be enjoying our time, having a bit of a holiday, really. I think we all deserve that, and we all need that. And yeah, and then when we turn around, we'll come back up to Ellesby, and that's where we'll start working again. We'll come back to Whitchurch, do a little bit of work here. And then after that, we're going to be heading off of the Llangollen Canal, and we'll be heading up through Middlewich, and we'll be heading up towards Manchester. And after Manchester, we'll be down to Liverpool. And this is it. Then this will be the penultimate part of our journey. You know, this is what we set out to do this year. We would have done Llangollen, we'd have done Manchester, and we'd have done Liverpool. So at that point, there'll be no resting on our laurels. We'll be sitting down with the pen and paper and the maps out, seeing and charting our journey back to Oxford for winter. We just spoke last night about this. We really ideally want to be back in Oxford on our home mooring by no earlier than the end of September, but no later than the middle of October. And the reason for that is because from the 2nd of November, stoppages happen. So there'll be stopping parts of the canal, there'll be closing parts of the canal for maintenance. So we won't be able to move the boat through. So we need to be somewhere where we're super comfortable and super set up to be able to overwinter and make sure that we don't have the eventful winter like we had last winter, where we're out in the middle of nowhere and the heating breaks down. And then next year we're planning on heading down to the Kennet and Avon Canal, which we're really looking forward to as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been so much fun. I really did feel that or worry that nobody would join me, but we've had a good time, and I hope you've really enjoyed it. I wonder whether I'm still on Jane's big telly, on a 50-inch telly. But thanks for watching. Lots of love from me to you. And as I say, guys, as soon as we get to these 1,000 subscribers, we'll do the live makes and the live cruises on here. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I've got to find the button now to press. I'm so not used to this. But thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.